Grab your popcorn, pour your drink of choice, and hit play. This is Pop, Pour, Play,
where we dive into shows you don't want to miss. I'm Kevin.
I'm Nichelle.
And welcome to our podcast.
Welcome back to our podcast, Pop, Pour, Play. I'm Nichelle. And if you're new to this channel, we appreciate you joining us.
And this is our podcast where we talk about the shows that we love and we review them, recap them, share our perspective. And if you couldn't guess, I'm Kevin.
This week, we're continuing on one of our favorite shows, Severance.
Love Severance. So happy about it. I must warn you, there are going to be some spoilers. So if you're not ready for that, now's the time to leave.
Run, Forrest, run!
As we know, every good show deserves a good drink. So, Kevin, what are you sipping on today?
I am sipping on my go-to when I don't know what I want to drink, and that is a Jack and Coke. And of course, it's a double. I have already taken a few sips. So, what about you?
You're good. Yeah, I've got a Aperol Spritz.
Hey.
I felt a little, vacation, festive. The sun was out bright today, so I couldn't help it.
And it coordinates with the wall behind you, so, it seems intentional.
Right. Exactly. My favorite color. Okay, we've got to dive into this. I don't know how I was feeling. I guess if I had to sum it up in 3 words, I would say frustrated, anxious, and tickled.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say layered, rebellious, and impatient.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I chose anxious because, of course, with the ending,
Yeah.
I'm really ready to see Mark reintegrating and having more memories when he's inside Lumen. Frustrated. I'm just so frustrated by all of them. Like the board, Natalie, Helena, Mr. Drummond. Miss Wong is now a part of that frustration.
I'm right there with you.
So, and then the last one tickled because my boy Dylan. But this time Mark got in some lines that had me a little floored.
So, kind of leading into why I chose my 3 words, I chose rebellious because of Mark. Because he was with Milchick, that one scene where they were face to face. I was like, okay, man. Mark. Okay.
Right.
It was definitely not a side I was expecting to see. For a second, I was like, is this the reintegration? Is this his Outie that's happening right now?
Right.
I don't know. Layered, just because every episode just it's like another piece. And I think that's also why I chose impatient, because I'm just ready to figure out where the hell Gemma is. He needs to work on this file so I can know when what 100% looks like.
Yes. Okay. So can we start talking about... I know. Can we start talking about our hot takes? Because I actually thought when you said impatient that you might go into my first hot take. What was it before? It was called the training or testing floor. Mm-hmm. And then we realized for O&D, they know it as the exports hall, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So when you get this scene as it opens up, it almost felt like a scary movie. This person whistling, moving very slowly through this white, stark hallway. I was like, they got somebody in a hospital? And I kept forgetting the walls of Lumen is just like that sterile looking.
Yeah.
And he gets into O&D and he's like,
you have him.
It all
like a drug deal almost, kind of.
Right. And it's got to be like the 2 of them standing there. They got it. I'm trying to figure out what is it. And when they open the drawer, I'm thinking, oh, they're going to do another severance procedure. So I'm anxious to know what the hell is down there.
So Helly sitting with, what's her name again? Natalie
and Mr. Drummond, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't expect them to send her back down as her.
I called it last show. I said, I don't think she can go back because they can't take that risk.
Right.
Because the team is going to be looking for her to be different now.
Yeah. And there's definitely a lot of distrust. So I find it interesting. So you could even tell. So when she actually did go back down, on the floor and went through like the change, just even in her stride, it was like, oh, that's Helly R.
Can we talk about that? Because I never noticed how manly she walked. And I was like, what? Either she's extra acting so that she can pull off being Helly R, or I just never noticed how manly she walks. It's so interesting.
We have to go back and be like, all right, I've got to pay attention to the
right.
I'm not sure what that dynamic's going to be. I think there's a lot of like distrust on the team towards her, and she's going to have to overcome that. I didn't think they were going to send her down. I think they were just going to get rid of her, and they were never going to see her down on the floor.
What's interesting though is that Mr. Drummond was, and this kind of ties back to how I was feeling with the last episode, how all of a sudden Mark is ready to sleep with her. I didn't see where it went from kiss, goats, sleeping together. That dynamic just didn't feel real to me.
Yeah.
But how Mr. Drummond was like,
so we must give him her.
Like, there's this great love between the two of them, and if she's not there, the exact person who eavesdropped on everyone and pissed them off, and diminished some of that trust between the team, I don't think it would have been a loss. But anywho, they decide to send her back down, severed, and
there might be
it was
more
a great.
To that.
Yeah, I just don't know, but okay, I'm gonna let that go for now while I think through it.
I think it was enlightening because I think we not trusted what Milchick was saying, but we took a lot of what he was saying was the directive of Lumen to do the things that he was doing. And I think his review is what came up next. And to learn that Lumen's not happy with him. They said, you screwed this up. You did an Ortbo, and they made it seem like it was unauthorized. And you risked the life of an Egan. And also, you had to disclose, or it got disclosed, that she wasn't actually severed. So now there are severed employees that know of an outside person, or, that version of themselves. So it was definitely interesting to see, and how nitpicky they were being too. Like, oh, here's some examples of what you did wrong, and you used the wrong paper clips, or you had them facing the wrong way. So like, how are we supposed to know which way we're reading the document? And I was like, okay.
So I do want to talk about that monthly review. If I had to sit through that monthly review.
It was monthly?
Monthly. When he said this could take 2 to 6 hours or something like that.
Yep, and if it's
at a paperclip.
Yeah. And it was like, if it's more than 4 hours, we'll have lunch that you must predetermine, or tell us.
Yeah, and then he passed him the lunch menu.
All right.
But I was just, oh my gosh, and I think this kind of fed into my frustration also, is like, why do people tolerate stuff like this? Mm-hmm. That's what frustrates me. But to get to when they're actually in that review, I'm like, who is Mr. Drummond? What is his role?
I definitely don't know what his role is, because he seems to be in charge of Helena or Helly.
Right.
So because
the dad's proxy or something. I don't like.
Maybe.
When Mr. Drummond said he used too many big words, and I was like, is that like a racist remark?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Using too many big words for who? When this is the guy who said contretemps. Who walks around saying
contretemps?
I should Google that word.
Well, I will tell you that I did, because I was like, who uses this? And it's a minor disruption or disagreement.
Interesting. Okay. That's an interesting point. I don't think I like picked up on that. They're definitely like trying to raise it to our attention, kind of going back to the conversation where he poked Natalie again about asking about the paintings and how she felt about it. And now you raising that point in the review where he's like using, it's almost like a microaggression a little bit.
There you go.
In a form.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
No, that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to kind of develop as the series goes on.
Yeah, it didn't sit well with me. Although also I think it was the urine analysis.
Yeah, it's intense. I don't think I'd be working there, honestly.
I'm telling you, I'm frustrated by it. I'm frustrated by that whole family. But anywho, going a little bit before they actually went into the monthly review was when they gave the funeral.
Yes. Duh. What did you think of that funeral?
Miss Wong had said it to Milchek.
You shouldn't let them have a funeral. It makes them feel like people.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like it's like these people are their property while they're on, company ground, so they can do whatever they please. You don't have the rights that you would as an Outie. So yes, while you're down here, you do as we say, and that's that. I guess you kind of, when you think of like labor laws and rights, for a situation or a company like Lumen, where you're literally separating your consciousness, I assume you're waiving a lot of those rights.
Right. Like they are like, we own this part of you. Yeah. But they are human. They think because the person is the Outie. And this other split kind of personality, although it's a part of you, it's what we've created.
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't exist without them.
It wouldn't exist without, yes. Going back to the funeral, I mean, they had how many seconds, or was it minutes?
So let us each take 9 seconds to silently remember Irving.
It's literally like as soon as you start to close your eyes, open them up. All right, we're good there. It's interesting that Milchek is, I don't know, doing things to cater to them as people in hopes that this will reassure them of the purpose of Lumen and maybe get them back happy. And I don't know.
Yeah, because I think in his review, I believe, is when he said, I think they were, picking on him for his methods and, the Nort bow and trying to make them feel like people. And he even made the comment, well, I'm not Harmony Cobell. Obviously, I think the underlying motive is the same between him and Harmony Cobell, and it's that Cold Harbor file. So I think in his mind is, if I just give him this quick ass funeral, they can just go back to work and we can move on from this. Because if I say no, they're going to keep pushing back.
You're absolutely right. And their goal is the same. Their tactics on getting to that goal is just different. And he wanted to take I guess this is taking more of a personable approach to what he sees, I guess, as a human side. And now, after his performance review, it was about going back to the basics, whatever that was. And I think he said he's going to be a lot tougher or something.
It's interesting that we're, talking about this as far as like him seeing them more like a human and trying to like cater to that side. I also wonder if it's because of how he's treated by the company or how he is made to feel by the company, like with the paintings and stuff. So, I think there might be some crossover there.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Milchek. So we know Helly was trying to convince Mark that she was really Helly. And clearly he was making it very awkward because he did not disclose that they actually slept together.
Yeah.
What did you think of that exchange?
I wasn't surprised by it, I guess. I think I almost expected it. I feel like I would act the same way that Mark did. And I feel like I would have withheld it too, at least until like I was sure that I knew who I was talking to. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think he acted accordingly.
I did say I wanted to see last week that I wanted to see a little bit of a uproar from the team around the fact that Helena was down there versus Heliar, her severed Innie.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they really focused on that. I think the focus was more on the fact that Irv was gone.
That's a good
and I
point.
didn't, and the only time I did see it was when Mark and Heliar were in the hallway having that exchange, because she's trying to figure out, like, what the heck? Why are you acting different with me? And he was upset, I guess, coming across as upset as he could, but that they were one step ahead, that the Egans now knew everything that they were doing.
Mm-hmm. And it was because she was the one that was telling them.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So he definitely feels betrayed, right? Because her Outie, Helena being down there, I would feel betrayed too, because now it's like, it's back to square one.
Mm-hmm. Are they now going to adjust everything? We're not going to know. They're going to hide all of this. Yeah. Ooh, that leads me to another hot take. I'm going to Dylan when he was leaving the funeral. And he was talking to Irv's melon head, which was ridiculous.
Crazy looking, but yeah.
I was like, why red? Like the skin was peeled off his face. I was just like, this is just not, you guys shouldn't have went here. Maybe the cantaloupe or something, but the red, yeah. Anyway, and he remembered what he said to him in the last episode.
Hang in there.
Yes, he was spot on with seeing that poster. Just the fact that Irv planted that seed and made me love him even more. What's your thoughts on, we didn't talk about Mark's sister and her husband, which I don't know why I always forget his name. It's like
Rickon?
Rickon, yes. I don't know why I always forget his name. And then the last, of course, Ragabi in Mark's house and how it closed. So, I mean, we definitely got to talk about those two.
I don't know how I feel about Rickon in this book and what the intention of Lumen is. I know they're like, oh, it made an impact on the severed employees. It made an impact on our severed employees. I say ours because I feel like they belong to me. No, but I feel like there's something more there that they're trying to get out of this. I feel like there's probably more to Rickon than we know right now. And there might be something that comes up later. Or if this book is looping him in and he will somehow become involved. I do love that Rickon, his wife, Mark's sister, Devin, she's just not about it.
I was never a fan of Rickon. So there's no love lost there, but
yeah, there's a reason they're keeping him around, right?
But there's something, yeah.
Like he was pivotal in season 1, whether or not we liked him, because his book made it down onto the severed floor.
Exactly.
And they're keeping him around for some reason. So
if they can get him to alter his words so that it works to their plan, then that can further deepen whatever conditioning and behaviors that they want from these employees.
Maybe you're onto something there.
So
maybe it's not as like diabolical as I want to think it is. But
he's gonna be the evil scientist that comes in and
like I've been in charge all along.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the father. Right.
Imagine.
Rickon. Oh god, that would be hilarious.
So episode 3, at the end of it, that's where Mark is like, I'm gonna do the reintegration process, let's do it. And the way they edited it, it was like him on the table, and it was like, him dressed in his Outie.
The flashback. Yep.
So I was like, oh, he's reintegrated. And last episode with the Orpo, I was like, is he able? Is he himself? And we learned in this episode that it's not such a clear process, and they're having to do it a few stages. Times.
Yep.
So I think that's what I learned in this episode. And I was like, so he's not, like, when he's going to work, he's still not able to connect the two consciousnesses. But I was happy that it seems that we are starting to see the effects of the reintegration, because I think this was the first time he saw, from his memory, I guess, his wife, Miss Casey or Gemma, down on the severed floor. Because like, he even teared up and he was like, oh my God, like that's her.
Yep. So he finally sees, because even Ragabi had mentioned, he's like, I'm not remembering anything. Like that was the only thing on the table. And then she's like, well, maybe your Innie remembers some stuff. And we do know that there was that flash when he saw Gemma as the Innie.
Yeah.
Which to him is just kind of freaking him out, but he has no, again, emotional tie to that.
Right.
And now it's switched to where his Outie saw that his Innie was actually right in front of Gemma or Miss Casey.
That would like mess me up so much, I think.
Isn't that crazy? And you'd be right in front of the person you thought was dead that you've been mourning over externally, or you know, the Outie.
Yeah.
And
like
looking at her,
your mind over, you know, like, yeah, I would be messed up with that. And not to, you know, jump to predictions, but I do hope.
I'm ready for it.
I honestly, like after that, I hope that just like puts a fire under under Mark's butt to like burn Lumen down. You know, now we know his Outie believes it. Like he saw the memory.
He's seen it. Yep.
Yeah. So like, if I were him, I'd be like banging on Lumen's door. I'd be calling the police. I don't know. Obviously, there might not be police, or you know, they're probably work for Lumen. I don't know what I would do, but I would like not just sit and wait to go to work the next day.
Yeah, I almost feel like we really don't know if it's true about they can't get notes and stuff. Remember, we were like, is that really real? Or are they just watching them on cameras and they know everything that they're doing?
Right.
And know to go search them. Maybe, let's just say it is true. And it's something in the ink that they use. Like maybe there's something you could pick up from that. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But I think that I would still try to get a message to my Innie and maybe like use lipstick to write on his chest.
Yeah, I guess they've never tried to like bring a message from the outside in, because it was always inside out.
Right. But I'm thinking if there is something in the ink, like don't write a note to yourself, but you can use something else.
Interesting. Yeah. So I'm eager to see like what he does now. I was surprised to learn. So we thought that Bert retired, and that, you know, kind of going back to season 1, they were like, oh, he's retiring. His Outie wants him to retire. And we find out that he actually got let go because he was having erotic relations. And I was like, oh. And
unsanctioned.
My Innie had an unsanctioned erotic entanglement.
That's what it was. Yeah. I was taken aback, right? Why not get rid of both of them? Why keep Irving? But again, Irving's working on the Cold Harbor file.
Yep.
So they're not going to risk that. Before we were like, who was Irving talking to on the phone? And we were like, is it Bert? And he just happens to be in the car behind him.
Right. So it's definitely not Bert. And then why was he following him? Which now we know, because he did hear him or see him outside, or maybe saw the banging, heard the banging on the door, then ran to the door, looked out the window, whatever. And the fact that his husband is also like, okay, who is this man showing up? Are you guys dating? Your Innies? Yeah. I just thought that was very interesting. So my prediction, or hope for, I should say, not really a prediction, but hope for the next episode, is to see if now they'll go on this hunt together. Because Bert, I knew he wasn't just retiring. I mean, just and even the Innie, Irv's Innie knew that, right? And that's why he was very upset. What coincidence? Now he's just retiring. So I'm hoping to see that dynamic when they sit at the table together. Hopefully they show that, or maybe they'll just jump ahead. And will they start working together to uncover the real truth about Lumen?
So ditto to that prediction or hope. Just to kind of add to it, I kind of hope, and my prediction is that eventually all of the Outies that are aware of what's going on the inside work together. So right now we have Irv and Bert likely starting this, initiative. We don't know yet, but that's the hope. But maybe Mark gets looped into it because Mark now is on a hunt for his wife. Since he's reintegrated, he may remember who Irving is and will go seek him out. So I'm hoping that eventually there are going to be enough people on the outside that they can make something happen to get some answers.
I don't know if Dylan will be involved with the outside kind of group, but no. Dylan is going to be on the inside showing us what's on that export hall or testing floor.
He has a big job.
Yeah.
He has a lot of answers to get us, so he better not let me down. I'll be very upset.
And he's angry. His friend is gone. He felt he let him down, and he's not going to fail him again. Yeah. So.
He wasted no time. He went to go look,
No time. Love it. Which character won the episode for you?
The person I'm going to choose this week is going to be Dylan. Because I think he is the one that's going to get through to the exports floor. So I'm rooting for him. Yeah, that's my choice. What about you?
My character win this week is Milchick.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that he delivered some good lines. I see he's drinking the Kool-Aid, but he's also pushing against, I guess, the norms. He's just got a lot to deal with. And that ending with him and Mark and him feeling like the need to shut it down with...
Did you and Heliot catch up?
We did.
Did you tell her that you f***ed her outie at the Orc Ball?
Yeah.
So essentially you've cheated on her with her outie and you didn't even know that wasn't her.
Yeah.
Shame on you. As you all know, if you have a character that you think won the episode, feel free to put it in the comments. If you have any theories, predictions, we'd also love to know what you're thinking about the show.
And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate it. Come back next week for episode 6. It's going to be a good one, and I'll see you then.